Hello, my name is Kim Fjordbotn. I'm owner of the Paint Spot. We often get asked questions about how to care for brushes, and I've always relied on what other people have said works. Well, then I saw on Facebook an artist found a bucket of brushes after a year of soaking them in solvents. And she called out to Facebook and said, "What do I do with these? They're all glued to the bottom. Help, it's probably $400 worth of brushes." There's a lot of bad advice that showed up in that stream. Things like using varsols and turpentines, very volatile solvents. Also using aggressive abrasives like bricks and razor blades and all sorts of advice. And I'm like, no, there are easier, less toxic ways to do it. "Cynthia," I said, "bring me your brushes." So she brought me her bucket of brushes. I was expecting, like, I'm holding up the bucket. Well, it finally came off. So this is what we're going to be cleaning today. Some of them are bent, some of them are glued. They've obviously been in solvent for a while. I can tell that there's all sorts of qualities of brushes here. Some of them are artist quality, some of them are student quality, some of them are synthetic, some of them are bristle. So I think it's a good cross-section of what most of us are using for brushes. And I'm happy to say this whole bucket was reclaimed. Most of these were hard, most of them were gooey, some of them were stuck to the bottom of the container, and we were able to make them all usable again. So I'm going to show those tricks. I'm going to talk about the materials here. I also want to point out that all of those brushes were cleaned with this much Gamsol or this much Bristle Magic. Actually, confession, I spilt most of this, so it would have probably been closer to here. Even the little brush and hand soap's only down about this far. One of my favorites was the black soap from Pebeo. It's only here. So we cleaned a lot of brushes without going through a lot of product. So the nice thing about working for an art store is you have access to all the materials. What I want to find out is what is the least toxic, the most environmentally friendly, and the nicest for the artist to use. That's what I'm after here, as well as what cleans the brush as well. I'm going to make a decision not to work with the very strong solvents. So the painting solvents, the mineral spirits, which I know will take it out very quickly. It is one of those strong, harmful VOCs, those volatile organic compounds. What makes them volatile is they evaporate into the air and their parts per million can become quite toxic. And when you breathe them in, these or ingest them through your skin, these things hurt your heart, they harm your liver, some things are cancer causing. So there's no need to use this in your studio. And there's certainly worse solvents than mineral spirits. There is turpentines, there are toluenes, there's xylene. All of those evaporate into the air too quickly. We carry Stevenson painting solvent. You need it if you're dissolving Damar crystals for your varnish. You need it if you're dissolving evalusite crystals or thinning down Golden's MSA varnish, for example. When you need to thin those kind of varnishes, you need a strong solvent. That's why we carry this in the store. But honestly, I won't sell you this for any other purpose. This is not a brush cleaner. Chances are if you were to put this in your brush, it's going to over clean the hair, possibly dissolve the glue in your brush, and you'll be harming your brush more than you're fixing it. So let's stay away from painting solvent. The next thing we have here is the odorless mineral spirits. Now these are good. They've had the harmful aromatics removed. This is important. Those volatile compounds, the volatile part means how quickly they evaporate into our air at normal room temperature. If I were to put this product out, in 8 hours, it would evaporate 90% into the air. Moving to this product, you're looking at only about 50% into the air. So working in a well-ventilated area, this is safe to use. However, secret is when you get it on your hands, this does not evaporate into the air. Your permeable skin layer absorbs these solvents faster than they evaporate. So I don't recommend using this if you don't have to. It is fast at dissolving things, it certainly works, but then you have to use gloves and work in a ventilated area, and I don't have time for that. The next one I'm looking at is Gamsol. This is my favorite solvent. If I have to have a solvent, we recommend this for our painting classes. It has no volatile compounds. In fact, if you were to set this out in a dish in 8 hours, only 10% of it would evaporate into the atmosphere. So there's not even anything you can do to make it the toxic level. This is also one of the best solvents that doesn't dissolve into your skin. Healthy skin could not absorb this product. Gamsol is a solvent, a mineral spirit that comes from the cosmetic and food industry. It's often used to disinfect food equipment, and you will find it in hand wipes, those little hand wipes. So it's used a lot in a non-toxic environment. So what I'd really rather see artists use are the brush soaps. Not only do they clean the brushes effectively, but they add back in some conditioner and some love so that your brushes will last longer. So most of them, you'd look for the label that says brush cleaner and conditioner. This one's my favorite. Pebeo has a whole line of new soaps, and they're all made with no parabens, no solvents. It's all based on olive oil. So you can get the black soap, or if you prefer a paste, you can scoop it right out of the container. Very concentrated formula. And you will see that we actually just put this liquid on a hard brush and leave it sit overnight, and the next day it's completely soluble again. So that's exciting. Another brush soap I've recommended for years is the Masters brush cleaner. It comes in a little container like this, or if you need the industrial tub, especially for your big brushes, this is probably the most cost-effective product. You just wet your brush a little bit. If it's dry and hard, you literally just scrape the soap in there and pack it around your brush and leave it sit for a few hours, and everything softens up. So in this video, we're just cleaning oil painting brushes, but I've heard that this works excellent on acrylic brushes too, so we'll give that a try. So Masters brush soap, also a staple in our store and has proven to work very well. The newer ones are the Savvy soaps and the Bristle Magic. Bristle Magic, this is interesting. It's biodegradable, it's post-consumer waste, and a little goes a long way. Definitely work to soften the hardest, most stubborn brushes. So these soaps are effective. You don't even have to go to the solvents. Oops, I almost forgot to share one important tip with you. When you're dealing with liquids that you're pouring out and then sitting your brushes in to dissolve, do keep them, put them in another container, because all of them will settle out and the gunk will go to the bottom, and you can pour off the remaining ingredients and reuse it several times. So what I'm after here today is what is fast, effective for cleaning the brushes without going too harsh in the solvents. So let me show you how well they worked. Combs that you can pick up at your local drugstore in a bag, really cheap. Some leftover well-used toothbrushes. And then a palette knife, just because a lot of my techniques require using my thumbnail, which if you love your manicure is not going to be good for your hands or your manicure. So a palette knife scraping like this will help you clean. Any hand soap will do. But once you get all the grease with the solvents and the soaps, you do need something to just rinse out under the water. I have plastic containers just to pour a bit of solvent in so I can swish my brushes around in it. And I have paper towel handy as well as some paint cloths. And that's how we're going to handle the ooey gooeys. As I mentioned, my manicure, my hands, and my sink are going to take a beating in this process. So here's what we're dealing with. I have emptied the bucket. You can see we have some ooey gooeys. Let me give you a close look of those little beauties. I'm calling these the goobers. They are some soft, gooey, icky. We'll see what we can do. I have also separated them into brushes that are big and really hard. Like, I don't have much. We're calling these the difficult Joes. I also have a little bundle here called my hockey sticks, because that's what they look like, little tiny hockey sticks. They're bent. They've been sitting on the bottom of the container too long. Even if I can get them clean, I'm not sure that they're going to spring back into a functional form. We have the softies. These I definitely can fix. See, they're quite, it's still quite malleable, so I have a lot of hope for this brush. Okay, so here's 4 of our ooey gooeys, and I'm just going to run a test with the 4 different solvents. Here we go. Wow! I was pleasantly surprised that all 4 brush soaps and the painting solvent Gamsol worked beautifully on hard brushes. Keep in mind these were brushes that were left in a solvent bucket for over a year. So look how soft, supple, every individual hair is still functioning. What a shock that they came this clean. From something gross and slimy to something soft and usable. I'm really impressed. Please note how very little solvent was used. It wasn't a big bucket, it was a little tiny container, and I can reuse that solvent.
This is a true story of saving brushes. I wanted to share the before and after images with you one more time. It shows quite a transformation. I hope you will feel confident that brush care is easy. I also hope it means you can afford better quality brushes. After all, quality tools do make a difference. Stay tuned for more tips and practical advice by subscribing to our channel. See you soon!